Emma's hands were shaking as she ran through the busy street. Her ex-boyfriend Jake was following her again. She could hear his angry voice calling her name. "Emma, come back here. We need to talk."
She did not want to talk.
Jake had hurt her too many times. Last week, he hit her because she talked to another man at the coffee shop. Yesterday, he broke her phone because she did not answer his call fast enough. Emma was scared and tired of living in fear. The rain started to fall. Emma's clothes were getting wet, and she could not run much longer. She looked around for a place to hide. There was a big black car parked near the street. The back door was open, and she could see expensive leather seats inside. Without thinking, Emma jumped into the car. She quickly moved to the floor and hid between the legs of a man who was sitting in the back seat. The man was wearing an expensive suit and shiny black shoes. "What are you doing?" the man asked in a deep, calm voice. "Please," Emma whispered. "Don't make me leave. There's a bad man looking for me. I just need to hide for a few minutes." The man looked down at her. He had dark hair and kind brown eyes. "Are you hurt?" he asked. Before Emma could answer, Jake appeared outside the car window. He was looking left and right, trying to find her. The man in the car saw Jake's angry face and understood the situation. "Driver," the man said calmly, "please close the door and drive away slowly." The driver did what he asked. As the car moved away from the street, Emma felt safe for the first time in months. She looked up at the man who had helped her. "Thank you," she said softly. "My name is Alexander," he said. "What's yours?" "Emma." "Well, Emma, you're safe now. Where would you like me to take you?" Emma realized she had no place to go. Jake knew where she lived and where she worked. She had no family in the city, and her friends were afraid of Jake too. I don't know," she said, and tears started to fall down her face. Alexander handed her a soft handkerchief. "Don't cry," he said gently. "We'll figure something out." Alexander took Emma to his big house outside the city. It was the most beautiful house she had ever seen, with a garden full of flowers and a swimming pool that looked like a blue jewel. "You can stay here tonight," Alexander said. "Tomorrow, we'll think about what to do next." Emma could not believe how kind this stranger was being to her. She learned that Alexander was very rich. He owned many companies and had more money than she could imagine. But he was not proud or mean like other rich people she had met. He was gentle and caring. "Why are you helping me?" Emma asked as they sat in his living room, drinking hot tea. Alexander was quiet for a moment. "I had a sister," he said finally. "Her husband was cruel to her, like your ex-boyfriend is to you. I wanted to help her, but I was traveling for business. One day, she called me crying, but I was in an important meeting. I told her I would call her back later." His voice became sad. "She died that night. Her husband pushed her down the stairs during a fight. If I had listened to her call, maybe I could have saved her." Emma felt her heart break for this kind man. She understood now why he had helped her. "I'm sorry," she said softly. "Since that day," Alexander continued, "I promised myself that I would always help people who are in danger. When I saw your fear today, I knew I had to protect you." That night, Emma slept in a comfortable guest room. For the first time in years, she was not afraid. She felt safe and warm. The next morning, Alexander made breakfast for Emma. He cooked eggs and toast and made fresh coffee. Emma was surprised that such a rich man could cook. "I learned to cook when I was young," Alexander explained. "My parents died when I was 16, so I had to take care of myself." Over the next few days, Emma stayed in Alexander's house. He never made her feel like she was bothering him. Instead, he seemed happy to have someone to talk to. Emma learned that Alexander was often lonely in his big house. Every morning, Alexander went to work at his office in the city. Every evening, he came home and had dinner with Emma. They would sit in the garden and talk about their lives, their dreams, and their fears. Emma told Alexander about her childhood. Her parents had died in a car accident when she was 18. She had no brothers or sisters. She worked in a small bookstore and lived in a tiny apartment. She met Jake 2 years ago, and at first he seemed nice and loving. But slowly, he became angry and controlling. Alexander listened to every word. He never judged her or made her feel bad about her choices. Instead, he helped her understand that what happened was not her fault. Love should make you feel free, not scared, Alexander said one evening as they watched the sunset. A man who truly loves you will want you to be happy, not control you. Emma felt something warm growing in her heart. She was starting to have feelings for Alexander, but she was afraid. How could someone so rich and successful want to be with someone like her? 1 week turned into 2 weeks, then a month. Emma was still living in Alexander's house, but now it felt like home. Alexander had given her a job helping him with his business papers and letters. He said she was smart and good at organizing things. Emma was happy for the first time in years. She woke up every morning excited to see Alexander's smile. They worked together in his home office, and Emma felt useful and important. But Emma was also confused about her feelings. Sometimes she caught Alexander looking at her in a special way, like he cared about her more than just a friend. When their hands accidentally touched while working, Emma felt electricity go through her body. One evening, while they were cooking dinner together, Emma dropped a plate. As she bent down to pick up the pieces, Alexander knelt down to help her. Their faces were very close, and Emma could see the kindness in his brown eyes. "Emma," Alexander said softly, "I need to tell you something." Emma's heart started beating fast. "What is it?" I think I'm falling in love with you," Alexander said. "I know this is not the right time, and I know you might not feel the same way. But I can't hide my feelings anymore." Emma felt tears of happiness in her eyes. "Alexander," she whispered, "I love you too. I've loved you since the day you saved me." Alexander gently took her face in his hands and kissed her. It was the sweetest, most gentle kiss Emma had ever received. All her fears melted away, and she felt complete. Love was beautiful, but it was not always easy. Even though Emma loved Alexander, she was still afraid sometimes. Jake had hurt her so badly that it was hard for her to trust completely. Some nights, Emma had bad dreams about Jake finding her. She would wake up crying and shaking. Alexander would hold her and tell her she was safe, but the fear was still there. "I'm sorry," Emma said one morning after another bad night. "I know I'm being silly." "You're not being silly," Alexander said, stroking her hair. "You've been hurt, and it takes time to heal. I will wait as long as you need." Alexander was very patient with Emma. He never got angry when she was scared or sad. Instead, he showed her every day that he was different from Jake. When Emma made mistakes, Alexander was understanding. When she disagreed with him, he listened to her opinion. When she needed space, he gave it to her. Slowly, Emma began to feel stronger and more confident. Alexander encouraged her to try new things. He taught her to swim in his pool, even though she was afraid of deep water. He took her to art museums and fancy restaurants, places she had never been before. "You belong in these places," Alexander told her. "You're smart and beautiful, and you deserve good things." Emma was learning to believe in herself again. With Alexander's love and support, she was becoming the person she was meant to be. 3 months had passed since Emma first hid in Alexander's car. She was completely happy, but she knew she could not hide from her past forever. Jake was still out there, and Emma needed to face him to truly be free. Before we start, we'd love for you to watch the story carefully and, at the end, rate it from 1 to 10 in the comments. Your opinion helps us understand what kind of stories you enjoy and guides us to create even better content for you. I need to go back to my old apartment, Emma told Alexander one morning. I have some important papers there, and I need to officially end things with Jake. Alexander looked worried. It's not safe. Let me come with you. No, Emma said firmly. I need to do this by myself. I need to show myself that I'm not afraid anymore. Alexander did not like this idea, but he respected Emma's decision. At least take my driver with you, he said, and call me every hour. Emma agreed. She was nervous, but she felt strong. Alexander's love had given her courage she did not know she had. When Emma arrived at her old neighborhood, everything looked small and gray compared to Alexander's beautiful house. Her apartment building was old and dirty. Emma realized how much her life had changed. As she walked up the stairs to her apartment, Emma heard familiar footsteps behind her. Her heart started beating fast. She turned around and saw Jake. I knew you would come back, Jake said with an angry smile. Where have you been, Emma? I've been looking for you everywhere. I don't want to talk to you, Jake, Emma said, trying to keep her voice strong. We're finished. Please leave me alone. Jake moved closer to her. You can't leave me, Emma. You belong to me. If I can't have you, nobody can. Emma was scared, but she was not the same frightened girl from 3 months ago. I belong to myself, she said loudly. I'm not your property, and I'm not afraid of you anymore. Jake became very angry. He grabbed Emma's arm and tried to pull her toward him. But Emma was ready. She pushed him away and ran down the stairs as fast as she could. Jake followed her, shouting mean things. But when Emma reached the street, Alexander's driver was waiting for her with the car door open. Emma jumped in, and they drove away quickly. As they left, Emma saw Jake standing in the street, looking angry and defeated. Emma felt free for the first time. She had faced her biggest fear and won. When Emma returned to Alexander's house, he was waiting for her with worried eyes. Are you okay? He asked, holding her tight. Yes, Emma said, and she meant it. I'm more than okay. I'm free. That evening, Alexander took Emma to their favorite spot in the garden. The flowers were blooming, and the air smelled sweet. Alexander seemed nervous, which was unusual for him. Emma, he said, these past 3 months have been the happiest of my life. You came into my life when I least expected it, and you changed everything. Emma felt her heart beating fast. Alexander got down on one knee and took out a small box. I know we haven't been together for very long, Alexander said, but I know I want to spend my whole life with you. Emma, will you marry me? Inside the box was the most beautiful ring Emma had ever seen. It had a big diamond that sparkled like a star. Emma's eyes filled with happy tears. Yes, she whispered. Yes, I'll marry you. Alexander put the ring on her finger, and they kissed under the stars. Emma felt like she was in a fairy tale, but this was real. This was her life now. Planning their wedding was exciting, but not always easy. Alexander wanted to have a big celebration with hundreds of guests. Emma wanted something small and simple. I don't know all those important people, Emma said. What if they don't think I'm good enough for you? Alexander took her hands. You are perfect exactly as you are, he said. But if you want a small wedding, then we'll have a small wedding. The only thing that matters to me is that we're together. They decided to have the wedding in Alexander's garden with just a few close friends. Emma wore a simple white dress that made her look like an angel. Alexander wore a black suit and could not stop smiling. The ceremony was beautiful and perfect. When they said, I do, Emma felt like all the broken pieces of her heart had finally come together. She was no longer scared or alone. She had found her home. Being married to Alexander was even more wonderful than Emma had imagined. They were not just husband and wife. They were best friends who loved spending time together. Alexander taught Emma about his business, and she became his partner in work as well as life. Emma was smart and had good ideas that helped Alexander's companies grow. She was no longer the scared girl who hid between his legs in the car. She was a strong, confident woman. They traveled to many countries together. Emma saw places she had only dreamed about. Paris with its romantic bridges, Tokyo with its bright lights, and beaches in Thailand with water as clear as glass. But their favorite place was still their home, sitting in the garden and talking about their day. Alexander would tell Emma about his business meetings, and Emma would share her ideas for helping more people like she had been helped. "I want to start a foundation," Emma told Alexander one evening, "to help women who are in dangerous relationships. We could give them safe places to stay and help them start new lives." Alexander's eyes lit up. "That's a beautiful idea," he said. "Let's do it together." Emma and Alexander worked together to create the New Beginnings Foundation. They bought houses in different cities where women could stay safely when they were running from dangerous relationships. They hired kind people to help these women find jobs and learn new skills. Emma often visited the houses to talk to the women. She shared her own story and showed them that it was possible to escape and find happiness. "I was exactly where you are now," Emma would tell them. "I was scared and thought I had no choices. But there is always hope. There is always a way to start again." Seeing these women become strong and independent made Emma's heart full of joy. She realized that her terrible experience with Jake had happened for a reason. Now she could use that experience to help others. Alexander was so proud of Emma. "You've become an amazing woman," he told her. "You're changing the world." "We're changing it together," Emma corrected him, taking his hand. 2 years after their wedding, Emma discovered she was going to have a baby. She and Alexander were so happy they cried with joy. "Our child will know only love," Alexander said, placing his hand on Emma's belly. "He or she will grow up feeling safe and cherished." Emma knew this was true. Their child would have 2 parents who loved each other deeply and would do anything to protect their family. During her pregnancy, Emma continued working with the foundation, but Alexander made sure she rested enough. He read books about being a father and prepared the nursery with everything their baby would need. When their daughter was born, they named her Hope. She had Alexander's brown eyes and Emma's gentle smile. Holding Hope for the first time, Emma felt her heart expand with a love she had never known was possible. "She's perfect," Emma whispered, tears of happiness streaming down her face. "Just like her mother," Alexander said, kissing Emma's forehead. 5 years had passed since the day Emma hid between Alexander's legs in that car. Now she stood in the same garden where they had their first serious conversation, watching Alexander push Hope on a swing he had built for her. "Higher, Daddy." Hope giggled, her dark curls flying in the wind. "Not too high," Emma called out, but she was laughing too. She was no longer the woman who was afraid of everything. Life had taught her that some risks were worth taking, and love was always worth the risk. Their foundation had helped hundreds of women start new lives. Emma received letters from women all over the country, thanking her for giving them hope. Some of the women had found new love, like Emma had. Others were happy being single and independent. All of them were free. As the sun set over their beautiful garden, Alexander came to stand beside Emma. Hope was now playing with their dog, a gentle golden retriever they had rescued from an animal shelter. "Do you ever think about that day?" Alexander asked, putting his arm around Emma's waist. "Every day," Emma said. "If Jake hadn't been chasing me, if it hadn't been raining, if your car door hadn't been open, if you hadn't been kind to a scared stranger, our whole life would be different." "I think we were meant to find each other," Alexander said. Sometimes the worst moments in our lives lead us to the best ones. Emma leaned into her husband's embrace. "I used to think I was unlucky," she said. "Now I know I'm the luckiest woman in the world." As they watched their daughter play, Emma thought about all the women in their foundation houses. Tonight, some of them were probably scared and unsure about their futures, just like she had been. But tomorrow was another day, and with it would come new possibilities. Emma had learned that no matter how dark life seems, there is always hope. Sometimes that hope comes in the form of a kind stranger, sometimes it comes from finding your own strength, and sometimes it comes from discovering that you can turn your pain into purpose. The little girl who had once hidden between a millionaire's legs had grown into a woman who could stand tall and help others find their own strength. Love had not only saved her, it had transformed her into someone who could save others. And every day, as she watched the sun rise over their garden, Emma knew that the best part of her story was still being written. Now that you've seen the whole story, we would really appreciate it if you rate it from 1 to 10 in the comments. Your thoughts help us improve and make sure we bring you the kind of stories you truly enjoy.